circus they roam. In a world where the Dita is the unsung hero. Welcome to the stage, the Eat Sleep Code Show. Syntax tight, our semicolons in a row. With the AI beats and the database flow. Grab your gear, hit compile and let's go. We're breaking walls in our virtual chateau. With every line we write, our universe will grow. Welcome to the grid where the brave dare to code. Eat, sleep, code, let the systems overload. Sending signals in the neon afterglow.
Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Code. I'm Ed Charbonneau, and with me is John Bristow, laughing at the dramatic pause before we started because I can never find the button to get going. It is time for another Eat Sleep Code, the show where we talk about tech news, things that we feel as important that you guys might be interested in hearing about, and latest articles, things we're working on, that sort of thing. How you doing, John?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We've got a topic for the day. We don't normally take too much of a topic. We might find a couple of things that are interesting in the news to talk about, but I've been watching social media last week. Hello
Who
to
hasn't?
Harry in the audience. And I follow a lot of devs. There are some that are diehard agentic coders. They're using Copilot. They're using Claude. They're using some generative coding tool to do development, and they love it, and they are productive, and they've got multiple windows going, sessions firing off in the background, and there are others that don't quite feel so lucky. They're like, I don't like the AI thing. I either like writing my own code or I'm not getting good outputs from this thing. And then there's the camp that's, coined the term vibe coding.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that terminology seems to be getting a stigma. So I've seen other terms popping up like agentic coding and generative coding and AI assisted coding. What do you call it these days, John? What is your
Well, it depends
go-to?
on the context. It depends on the context. Vibe coding is where you get someone basically going backwards and back and forth with a prompt to generate. And it's like, this looks fine, change this, change that. Agentic is obviously utilizing aspects of agents to help do that process. Sometimes it will be autonomous. Other times it will be handheld, etc. Really depends on your style, I think, or flavor. Vibe coding is where I think we started. The trend now, I think, is to iterate and let machines do what they do best, which is to basically do stuff over and over and over again. And so that certainly seems to be the norm.
Yeah. And then we've got the hot topic again for the second week in a row is going to be agent skills. Like, this is something that came out a few weeks back, and people are jumping on board and really taking advantage of. And I've been testing some ideas out, and they've been working really well. I'll share some of those. And then we're going to do a special show tomorrow, same channel. Which I think it's going to be on our YouTube channel only. And we're testing an integration with our Discord channel that we've been keen on getting an audience there to talk with us and share ideas. So we're going to try that as a streaming destination as well, to see if we can get a conversation going there that we can continue after the show's over. We're going to do that with Alyssa and Catherine, who are coworkers of mine that specialize in the .NET or the JavaScript ecosystem, so Angular and React. And then I'll be there for the .NET folks talking about Blazor. And we're going to try to build some skills for UI component development. So, so you have a user interface that you're putting together, and you want repeatable skills that you can reuse to create, certain types of pages and that sort of thing. certain configurations of components, maybe data grids or whatever it is. So we're going to give that a try tomorrow on a live stream, and save those agent or skill files out so people can share them and try them out.
Yep.
So it'll be fun. Let's get to some news, John. What do you have for some news this week?
I brought this up in the background in case anyone was curious. This is SkillsBench. This is at skillsbench.ai. For folks who've been looking at this for a while, obviously this is not new, but basically it's a way in which you can benchmark how well skills work across diverse tasks. The primary test suites are for the usual suspects here, things like Gemini, Claude, Codex, etc. Incidentally, I didn't see GPT-5.4 listed, which also dropped. We'll talk about that in a second.
So this is like an evaluation platform for skills?
Yeah, it's basically a test. It's a test suite for AI agents, and whether it checks whether giving an AI skills actually improves its performance. Because there's a bit of a meme right now, which there's a research paper that came out recently where folks were finding that agent performance actually decreased with skills. So there's a train of thought that says you shouldn't annotate or supplement your agents with skill files, for example. But I think the with skills, with versus without skills, etc., normalized gain, you can see the result of this. And the idea here is that we're still fleshing this out to see how things are faring. There's based on a list of tasks, the task registry. These are the benchmark tasks that are available inside of SkillsBench, excuse me. And so this is a bit of a test matrix here, but the idea is that skills are basically like these packages of procedural knowledge, and you can run these accordingly. And basically what the benchmark actually tests is a bunch of things, the model layer, the agent harness, and things like the skills layer. So this is something to check out at skillsbench.ai.
Yeah, I think this might have been an opinion that you shared before, and it may or may not have been about skills, but the whole are skills making this better or worse?
Yeah,
that might that trend may change over time. So skills are relatively new, and
they are. And then there's the whole meme around whether agents.md is a better ancillary technology to agents. This was a finding by Vercel. So Vercel found that was the case.
And as the trends pick up on these things, the folks that produce these AI models, remember, like the LLM itself has a lot of software around it. Like when you consume this thing, there's a lot of routines that are happening besides just the inference itself. So the ability for it to pick up skills in agents markdown and all of those things, there is some programming involved inside the model to make use of these things. And as people start using certain features more and more, they may skew that programming to work better with certain things than, like skills, and rather than agent files and that sort of stuff. So this will probably change as people use stuff. You could probably draw a parallel with the way like CSS was spec'd out and the way it's been working. Like SAS became a thing and people started doing all these really cool things with SAS. And then that kind of got picked up by the browser developers, and the spec started changing to kind of mimic or take advantage of those techniques. And then you saw kind of SAS start fading away in favor of just native CSS again. So I think you'll see that type of a shift happen. I think we've seen this before with prompts in general. Like the way you wrote prompts changed from model to model because it used to be like making a giant prompt was great, and then it was like, okay, you don't really need that big prompt. A smaller prompt is better. And then we started focusing on these skills and other things to augment prompts. So it just keeps fluctuating, like the pendulum keeps swinging. And now we're in the skill part of the timeline here.
The hot skill era. It's like a hot girl summer. Awesome. This is a website that we've mentioned this before. This is skills.sh. This was made available via Vercel. It's sort of like a skills registry, if you will. So this is a way in which you can find some of these as well. So that's another resource you can check out. You'll like this one, Ed. This is a GitHub issue title, compromised 4,000 developer machines. So there's a tool called Klein, and it got kind of compromised as a result of this. They did a post-mortem, but I'll explain what happened essentially with this. So there was an interesting incident that involved GitHub, and they did a basic breakdown of what happened. So essentially what happened, they call it the Klein injection. So the Klein injection attack chain is as follows. So what they did was they updated the person who compromised Klein did so by updating package.json. They put this post install here, as you can see, that installed OpenClaw. So they're installing AI to compromise the machine. That's the first step.
Okay.
But then what they did was they did a prompt injection based on a GitHub issue title. So inside the GitHub issue title, they wrote a specialized title that the OpenClaw would grab and use and perform actions based on that. So the AI, which is now installed, OpenClaw, would now then execute some code from that, and then ultimately what it was doing was basically to compromise a bunch of folks' machines and obviously hiding tracks, etc. But it was basically AI to compromise AI, which was actually kind of clever. And so a breakdown, this happened earlier in February, but the breakdown for this is essentially all integrated in here. And this is, as the author here writes, it's a new pattern. AI installs AI. So it's all coming down to, it's basically a supply chain attack. And it's because people are not doing right by their dev tools and their DevOps pipelines. And they're not checking to see whether or not they should be automating some of these runs, GitHub Actions, etc. And there's no attestation, there's no auditing, there's basically just like let it rip through the pipeline and build, and that's essentially what happened. So as a result, in the postmortem, which I've got linked here, they're basically eliminating their GitHub's cache usage. They're utilizing OIDC, which is important. That allows you to have trust chains between servers, and then adding verifications, etc. So if you want to read the postmortem, it's available here on the Klein blog, which is at klein.bot. And they talked about how there was an unauthorized Klein CLI npm publish. npm is getting a bad rap these days. It's like it's not been a good year for npm. They've been compromised a lot of exploits have been occurring there. So this is something you can read about if you're all curious. But I thought it was interesting just to mention here.
Yeah, there is an interesting comment. This is directed at some products that I work on. So Harry's asking about modernizing the UI and gives a couple specific examples. It says mixing Kendo UI with other libraries causes CSS conflicts. That's actually surprising to me that there's conflicts there.
Kendo was K-dashed.
Yeah, everything's K-dash namespaced, so I'm not sure where the exact conflicts are coming from. But I would recommend joining us in our Discord channel to chat about it a little bit. And then you could also go to feedback.telerik.com. That's a great place to post product suggestions. And our program managers spend quite a deal of time in there going through people's feedback and then using that to gauge our roadmap.
Worst
but I feel like
URL ever.
Yeah, Discord URLs are a pain. I mean, it's short. It's just not very memorable, right?
Yes.
We need what is like a vanity URL for that?
Yes, a vanity URL.
But yeah, join us in Discord. Pop into the front end channel and ask that question there. I'll have our folks weigh in on it. I believe our Kendo UI Builder, or sorry, not Kendo UI Builder. Where did that name come popping out of my head from? Our theme builder product should be able to get you most of the way there, if not all the way on. I took a look at Hero UI a few minutes ago. It's basically, it almost looks like a synthwave like look to it. You can
Oh,
pull
yeah.
these things off with the theme builder tool, or you can just change CSS variables and that sort of thing. And the conflicts thing really surprises me. Not quite sure where the conflicts are coming from exactly. So we'd have to dive a little bit deeper in chat and then point you in the right direction. If we can't figure it out there, we can always drop things in feedback.teller.com or get a support ticket going on it. But good question though. Appreciate that.
This is a repo I stumbled across. This is the Google Workspace CLI. This is basically a CLI to help you drive any automations, either as a human or as an AI agent, for all your Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, etc. Anything that's utilizing the Workspace API from Google. And you can think of it as like a very tailored CLI for Google products that run on your machine. So it's like the OpenClaw sort of run it local, allow me to automate my systems that way. And this is a repo you can check out up on GitHub that talks about this. They talk a little bit about the prereqs. They talk about quick start and the motivations behind this. It's basically this prompt here, GWS. And then you can do things like you can list the most recent files, create a spreadsheet, send a chat message. So it's similar to what OpenClaw does. Oh, just hang on. I'm still here.
That's okay. We just lost your camera.
My camera.
We've got a fantastic headshot instead. It's all good.
Yeah, so this is the way in which you can drive this. And so if you're looking for something to help automate your Google Workspace, this is CLI for doing that.
Cool.
We recently had GPT-5.4 that got shipped earlier. So, OpenAI is definitely still forging ahead. And 5.4 is no different. So this is basically their foray into more agentic capability, which for a long time, I think, could be argued that OpenAI is kind of a little bit far behind from Anthropic and with Claude. And so now you can basically have GPT-5.4 can perform tasks rather than just answer questions, which is what most people think of when they think of GPT. So you can use tools and browse the web, collect information. You can do a bunch of operations there. Of course, they provide some analytics around their better reasoning models. So they say that this is they being OpenAI, claims that they've got improved reasoning. They've got better productivity skills compared to their earlier versions, etc. So you can see some of the benchmarks here that have been collated. Less hallucinations, which is always a good thing. Knowledge work is definitely something that has come up a lot, especially relative to Claude work, co-work, and the impact that's made, especially on the stock market. A lot of people have reacted quite negatively to that. But basically, thought work or knowledge work is definitely an aspect of it. But thinking is another model that they're looking at. And so data analysis and all those sorts of things are things that they've added to GPT-5.4. You can see an example here of the work component here with spreadsheets, with documents, with presentations. This is definitely the trend that I think a lot of folks, the knowledge workers, want to see with these agents and these models, etc. So this is definitely something that I think OpenAI is following suit here. And I think Anthropic is the leader at the moment. And this is another model we can now use, 5.4.
Cool. I'll have to try some of these out. I have the habit of finding something that works and then not budging. Like,
okay,
maybe it's the old timer in me, right? I like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Fair enough.
But I found that GPT-4o Mini does so good at a lot of things for cheap that I just default to that most of the time.
That's fair.
Not for like my like use in chatting with something. Like I use Gemini for a lot of things. I use ChatGPT for like work related things. I use Gemini for like more personal things.
Yep.
And then I use GitHub Copilot for programming tasks. So I'm not talking about those type of things. I'm talking more, I want to build an app that has some sort of LLM capability behind it. That one I usually default to GPT-4 or 4o Mini first, just to see if it'll do said task. And if it does, then I just leave it there. It just it's efficient. It does it well. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've got some optionality there, right? You've got solutions like OpenCode and Cursor and others that allow you to basically swap models. So you can, if you're on the coding side of things, this is more of a textual variety. But if you're interested in these sorts of things, Cursor is an example of this, where you can basically just point to whatever model you want, and you can actually have it fan out and use different models at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Burke Holland showed a great example of this in VS Code. I wasn't aware you could do this till he showed it on his YouTube channel the other day. So if you're not familiar with Burke Holland, he's a ex-colleague of ours, but you may know him in the community from the program manager of Copilot for Visual Studio Code. And what Burke has done in his last video is he asks Copilot to use like 3 models together to like evaluate his code base and make recommendations for refactoring or whatever it is. And you can actually watch the models talk back and forth to each other. And then it comes up at the very end with an executive summary, and it has like each model noted. And it's like, all right, so Claude recommended these changes, and whatever the other model is, GPT-5 agreed that these were the right changes to do. And then this one differed, and like it gives you a whole analysis of what each model came up with and the action plan that each one gave, and which ones compared, like they had the same opinions and which ones differed. It was really cool. Didn't know you could do the multi-agent thing.
Oh yeah.
In VS Code, because you've got the drop down, but it's not like locked into that if you ask it to do more than one at a time.
Yep. No, definitely a very common pattern.
Really cool.
Yep, it is. Lastly, just wrapping things up, if you're at all interested in engaging with folks in the community who are maybe working with Claude, for example, there's a Claude community up on Luma that you can go and find events near you. So there's a bunch of little user groups that have started up around Claude. If you're at all interested, we've got some in North America. We've got actually 3 down here in Australia. So check it out. That's at luma.com/Claude community.
Speaking of community, John, I am. This show is sponsored by our personal Discord channel called Progress Labs. Not joking there. Like if it wasn't for the fact that we need folks like you to come in and talk to us developer advocates, we wouldn't have a show. So make sure you drop into Discord, say hi, and keep the conversation flowing there. Ask follow-up questions. Maybe maybe you're watching the show not live, and you can't go back into chat and ask questions. You can always drop into Discord, say, hey, I saw the show last week and there was a segment. Can you expand on whatever this topic was? And we're happy to jump in there and have a quick chat with you.
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and share some stuff, John. I've got not quite a demo, but I'll show a project that I'm working on and how I'm working on it. I think it'd be something that people will be interested in. And then let's see if I can, there we go. I also want to point out that some of the stuff that I'm talking about, we did talk about in a webinar last week. We had one of our customers come in last week. If you go to telerik.com/webinars, the first block, when you scroll down here, it says AI for developers, how to achieve 50% productivity boost, building a RAG-based e-commerce site with AI agents. That's quite a mouthful. The content that is in there is a customer of ours, Batovi, and Ryan from Batovi is talking about how to build a workflow with agents and skills and agent markdown files and all of those sorts of things, and MCP servers. It's a really great session if you're looking towards building that, for lack of a better term, vibe coding or agentic coding, whatever you want to call it this week, AI-enabled coding workflow.
Okay.
That's a really great webinar for folks. There is like an email gate behind there, so just fill that out. You'll get the link to the content so you can watch it. Really fantastic session by Ryan. So give that a look. I learned a lot. We also have a great article, if you're already on the Telerik page, about building your own AI applications with pre-built Blazor components. So one of the things that I pushed for last year was our team to build more atomic AI components. And what I mean by that is we needed all of the bits and pieces that go into making your own GPT-like application. And in this article, Hector outlines how to build your own GPT-like thing. Like it's my own chat. He goes through all the UI bits, and then I'll go all the way to the end so you can see what the last screen looks like. There we go. So you can build yourself a chat interface, and it comes out looking really nice at the end. And there's a lot less UI involved than you would imagine, because we have all of these little bits and pieces that you can glue together and then make this a customized chat experience. So we've got things like speech to text, the chat input with the ability to like, type in the box or use your voice. And then we have all of the things to show the chat as it happens and all those sorts of things. So
I
really,
would say that
really good stuff.
Claude does a really good job of this. They do introduce these UI elements along the way when you're chatting, when it asks questions. ChatGPT doesn't do that. It's basically actually what I've noticed recently. ChatGPT is so I recently am looking to renew my mortgage. In Australia, we have variable rate mortgages where we don't have these big 30-year mortgages, for example. That you do in the States. And so one of the things I've noticed that ChatGPT is doing is it's actually prompting you. It's that classic sort of Starship Troopers, would you like to know more type question at the end of the commercial. In ChatGPT now, when you do a prompt, it's like, hey, let me know what mortgage rates are doing. And then it will answer your question. And at the end, it will be like, actually, there's one thing that I've discovered that has more bearing on mortgage rates than anything else. Would you like to know what it is? And it's like, what are you doing to me? Just answer the question, So yeah, those UI elements they show up a lot in Claude, not so much in ChatGPT right now.
But it's a good article up there that shows you how to like build your own chat interface with all the bits and pieces that we've been adding to our libraries over the last year. I'm going to switch gears to content for a minute. If you want some really good video content, I'm going to give a shout out to Microsoft Reactor. Reactor has a really fantastic channel. It's at Microsoft Reactor on YouTube. And this week, there has been, or actually it's been 2 weeks running now, there has been a Python and Agents series that is by Pamela Fox. And this has been, I think it's a 5-part series that teaches you Microsoft Agent Framework using Python, from some very basics like agent memory all the way through workflows and then into human in the loop. And I think it ended today, but that was just if you wanted to see it live. All the recordings are up there. You can see all these ones in bright pink. It's all Pamela Fox's content. I've been trying to follow those. There's been some really good insights in all of them. Even if you're not a Python developer and you're looking at doing agents and you want to look at how workflows are assembled and all of those sort of things, check out Microsoft Reactors series. Really good stuff. Hats off to Pamela, cloud advocate there at Microsoft, for building that series. There's no small effort to get one of those streaming series up and running. Workshops are hard, my friend. We both know that, right?
Yep.
I just gave Microsoft huge props for some content, but I got to share this because I think it's funny. I'm not encouraging this, okay? This is not behavior I want to encourage, but I do find it funny. So I'm sure you've heard the term microslop before, John.
Not microslop, no.
No, you haven't heard that one. Okay.
Oh, is this a reference to Microsoft and AI slop?
Yes. So that's exactly what's happened. I heard this a couple months back. So there was a big like trend in AI slop, and one of the nighttime hosts did a 30-minute show on it. I think it was like John Oliver or one of those guys.
Yep.
They like highlighted the whole AI slop thing. I may have even shared that on this show.
Okay.
Very, very funny though, like showing like all of the video, cats, like videos of cats doing karate and all the insane junk that just gets fed into like our timelines and Instagram and stuff now. And like you can't like look for like inspirational images for home decor or anything anymore without getting AI generated garbage. Like and the term AI slop has been coined. And Microsoft has a habit of pushing Copilot everywhere. I'm sure you've noticed. People have noticed.
Yes.
For good and bad, like Copilot is everywhere. So people started putting the terms together and calling it Microslop. Apparently, this got into their Discord and became trendy with people to troll Microsoft in their Discord channels with the Microslop word. So they ban it. And what happens when you make something the forbidden fruit, John?
Tempting.
Yeah, it makes it sweeter. So
Yeah.
then it goes viral outside of their Discord. And if it wasn't viral enough already, like it just started going everywhere. And now it's unstoppable. Like it's been it's been the Microslop week in social media. So I think it's funny. It's obviously getting to some folks at Microsoft, so it's probably not funny in that respect. But
Well,
as a bystander, this is how the internet works. I'm sorry. Feelings may get hurt from time to time, but yeah, that it was a thing. So now you know. But they make great content, so make sure you go to Microsoft Reactor and learn more about Copilot. No, learn more about Agent Framework. Agent Framework's a really cool piece of software for people to use. There's other great content there as well. They actually had some of the PMs on there. I was looking through some of the content. They were talking about the UI behind AI Foundry is another great video that's on here. So AI Foundry is the extension, the sequel, the spinoff to Azure. I don't know what they call it. It's part of Azure, but it's not part of Azure. It's where you do all your AI stuff, and it's really secretly Azure behind the scenes. Like we need like the meme of like Scooby-Doo pulling the mask off of, AI Foundry and Azure's really behind there. But the UI portion of it is really starting to take shape. They've been building a new AI Foundry site, and there's a little toggle at the top of the screen that lets you toggle between the old UI and the new one. And the PM for that is on Microsoft Reactor, talking about their process of rebuilding that and all the different UIs that are there now and how they got to from the old one to the new one. I thought that was really interesting stuff. It's kind of in the ballpark of stuff that you like, John, where the builders are talking about the process of building something.
Yeah.
So check out that whole channel. It's just good stuff. And then we're going to circle back to skills for a minute. Again, we're going to do a show here tomorrow where we're going to build some skills live, and I'll show some here in a minute too, so we can just chat about them a little bit. But there is a article up on Microsoft dev blogs about skills and how they're used, what skill files look like. This is all coming from I always get these mixed up, so correct me if I'm wrong, John. This is the Anthropic specification, right?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things I learned...
There's Gems is the Gemini one.
Oh,
in
okay.
case you're keeping score.
Not to be confused with Ruby Gems.
No, not Ruby Gems.
This is not a difficult industry to be part of, is it? Naming stuff is hard, John.
It is.
So one of the things that I learned just from the intro to this is, I haven't sat there and read through the whole spec. Who does that? We're developers. Who reads specs? But from this first screenshot here, what I learned was these skills can actually have scripts attached. So did you know that?
Yep.
Like an individual skill can have a script that it can run. It's similar to adding a function call to AI or giving it an MCP almost. But unlike an MCP, it's not an external server that you're talking to. It's just a script that may have routines in it, may call an external server, who knows, but it is a process that you would like the agent to be able to run if it needs to. So you can attach scripts. I think the type of script doesn't matter. You're probably going to see Python in most of the samples because it seems like the AI world has brought Python into the forefront, kicking and screaming. I would assume that if you have the .NET runtime on your machine, it could be a .NET script, as long as the environment has the executables, it should be able to run whatever the scripting is. So there's that. There's also the ability for you to set prompts, not like AI prompts, but like user prompts inside of these. So it can ask you questions. You might have a skill that kicks off, but it has some branching inside. It's like, which branch do you want to take, A or B? Like, do you know, if you're building a UI, do you want the buttons to be purple or do you want the buttons to be green? That type of thing. You can do that as well. So there's some really neat stuff in here that you can do that I'm learning about. So skills can go pretty deep. So it's like more meta programming, right? Everybody was so worried, like developers are going to be put out of jobs and there's no more developers, and you can have Susan from accounting vibe code your next ERP system in a weekend. Okay. Not happening. This is programming. Writing skill files is programming. I don't care how you want to phrase it. Just because it's not code anymore, it's natural language, it's still the same mindset of problem solving through specific text that we're using to describe the solution to a problem. So with that, I'm going to bring up Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit more if I can. I had like a nice presenter profile set up, and when I got my new machine, it synced, but the font sizes didn't sync. So it like synced like the colors and everything but the font size. So hopefully everybody can see this. So one of the products that I'm actively coding on right now is an SDK for one of our products named Progress Agentic RAG. It's a RAG as a service platform, and it has several SDKs. We were missing a C# SDK, so I started coding the C# SDK for that product. The next phase in the product or the SDK portion of this product is to reinforce all of the APIs that are part of the SDK with functional tests. So we put the SDK out in preview as this functional testing is happening. So I'm working on the functional tests right now.
Okay.
And one of the ways that I found that this agentic coding or vibe coding or whatever you want to call it is it works really well is if you start with a manual coding operation and you give it kind of the groundwork for what you want to repeat. So what I did is I wrote a functional test, just a single functional test. From that functional test, I went and I said, all right, take this functional test and create a skill to make more functional tests like this one.
Yep.
So it came back, and when I say it, I'm talking about GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot comes back. By the way, it did this incorrectly. So skills are new. It must be part of, I can't blame Copilot either. It's probably the underlying model. This one is currently set to Claude Sonnet 4.5. I don't remember when skills dropped, but it might not be in the training for Claude 4.5. I might need to just update my model, and that would help. But it put it in completely the wrong directory and used the wrong format. It just created a markdown file that was pretty much a prompt, but it was missing its front matter. It wasn't being picked up by the IDE because it was in the wrong place. So prompts go in your, depending on what what AI service you're using. They may go in a different folder. For GitHub Copilot, they go under the .git folder, and then under prompts, and then, sorry, that's a prompt. Skills, they go under a skills folder, and then skill.md is the file name, and it gets the actual skill name from the subfolder under skills. So this one is a functional test folder, and then skill.md is the actual file that contains the markdown, and then you can name it, and it should be the same name as the subfolder it's under. So this one is Nuclea, which is the database I'm testing, functional test. So it created this file, sans the front matter, and then I went in the file and took out things that didn't belong. So there's still manual processes involved. So it had some hard-coded values and stuff in here that I didn't want. So it was like, I had originally written like one test and then had it generate a second test. And it was like, it said in the skill file, like, the test for this function is covered, the test for this function is covered, and then it listed all the uncovered tests or uncovered methods. I was like, I don't want that list in there, because the minute I run this again, that list is going to change and the skill file is going to be the same. So I deleted that chunk out. There was a bunch of stuff in here I just didn't want, but it's got samples of how to structure all of the code that it's going to generate, how to use environment variables so it's consistent across all of the unit tests that gets generated from it. So this is the skill file for creating a single functional test. And then it even has like how to run the tests, what filter to use. So after it's done building that test, it can then run it and check and make sure it worked. So that was the first step, right? Write the first test or two, get a skill file built from that template, so I don't have to write it again. And then once you've got that, you come into the chat window here. We'll start a brand new one up. And now that the skill file is in place, I can just come in and type in Nuclea functional test, and you'll see it pop up here. And I get like an autocomplete with that skill. So I can say, write a test for, and give it a method name, and it's going to go out and create a new functional test for that given function that or functionality that I'm testing. So I don't have to go through this all again. I don't have to have anything special for it. I even get lazier than that, and I can just do a functional test prompt that calls the skill. So now I've got a prompt in here that has even more boilerplate on it. And this has more global reach than the skill. So the skill is very atomic, finite. The prompt is a little bit more broad. And then we can also set agent markdown files with even more broad definitions for things. So this one, it identifies a test that's not covered yet, so I don't have to give it a test name. It's just going to scan my files and go, okay, or scan the methods that are already there, compare it to the methods that still haven't been tested, and go, okay, this one's next on the list. Because what I want it to do is create these tests in blocks or one by one, because I want them to run, and if they don't run, I need to go back and manually fix them. So there's either an error in the SDK, the implementation, or there's an error in the test. There's an error somewhere. I need to like suss that out before I like commit this to Git and like make it a permanent part of everything. So I don't want it to just run through. There's like 200 methods in here. I don't want to, 200 generated tests now I got to pick through and go after one by one. I want to do this a little bit more managed way. So now I can come into to the chat window here, and I can say new functional test. And I can just run this as is. It's going to pick the next one in the queue and create a test for me automatically. So now I can run through it that way. I can also, and what I ended up doing is there are several interfaces in here. So there's there's less of a test surface for each interface than there is, doing the entire SDK at once. So I have a chat in here, show sessions up on this side. Just went into planning mode. Whoops, I mean to close the whole thing. I went over to planning mode. So I swapped this into plan mode, and I hit plan mode. We'll go back up to the top, and I was like, all right, we're going to do functional tests for all 4 of these interfaces, but I told it at the very end that I wanted it to stop at each service. So don't run the next batch until I've checked it manually. So I told it to give it like a human in the loop type of a workflow. And I was like, all right, you're gonna chunk out this many tests, and then I'm gonna go back and make sure they're working, and then I'll give you an okay to run the next batch. So it is using the prompt, which is using the skill to do that. So essentially what it's doing now is it's expanded the reach of Copilot to do batches of these, and it knows how to do one really, really well because it has a skill, and then has a prompt to take advantage of to call that skill and just pass it a method name to execute it. And then at the highest level, it's like, okay, I have 4 interfaces. I need to break these down by method. I can call this prompt, which calls this skill, and then it just builds out 10 to 20 of these at a time. And that's where I'm currently sitting right now, is with a set of 30 something tests that need to be pruned through. Some are failing, but yeah, we can rerun these. There's a certain amount that are failing right now that I need to manually go through, and this is the part where developers still have a job, John. So the developer kicked it off by giving best practices. There's a lot of things that you still have to know and understand to do something like this. Like what is a good functional test? So one of the things that it did when it was building out some of the tests is it wasn't putting in cleanup routines. So like this is going out to a testing database, and it was polluting the testing database. It's like eventually that thing's going to topple over. It's going to run out of memory. It's costing the company money to have all this stuff in the database. Like each unit test or functional test should spin up some resources, check to see if they're there, query them, do whatever it is it's doing. But when it's done, it needs to wind down and go back into the database and remove those assets. And otherwise it's going to regenerate them again and again and again. Yeah. And then you're going to have a problem. So you have to know how to do these things to correctly instruct the AI to do these things and to do them well, or you're going to end up with a bunch of AI slop. So yeah, this is something that I'm actually working on actively. So we'll maybe do some more of that on stream, or dedicate a stream to doing some of those workflows. And thanks. We'll be live tomorrow. We planned it for I want to say, need to look at my schedule off screen here, John. I do have it on the schedule for 2 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 2 o'clock tomorrow on our YouTube channel and in Discord. We'll share that Discord link one more time. And if you're watching,
why not?
Yeah,
because why not?
If you're watching on StreamYard, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Telerik. Just join us there. We may or may not stream that to Discord as well, or I mean to StreamYard as well. To keep getting the services mixed up. We may not have it on Twitch. My bad. We're still trying to figure out where this type of interactive content belongs. We'd like to have something that's a little more chat driven when we do something like that. So this is going to be, three of us developer advocates putting our heads together, building something, and then we'll make the bits available at Telerik.com/developer. We've got our Telerik developer advocate site there. So it's something that's new for everyone, and we're starting to build out some cool content for that. So we'll be doing like workshops and things and posting it there. All right, John.
Nice.
It's been a busy week. It's been like at least 3 Mondays worth. I don't know about you, but you're probably ready for the weekend. Because it's Friday where you are, right?
Ready for everything to settle down. That's what I want.
It's Friday morning for you. I feel like so jealous right now. I've got to do this again.
Okay.
No final words there.
No, nothing.
No last comment. You're like, yes, I'm ready. Just
Nope.
Get us off air so I can go on vacation or whatever it is you're going to do for the weekend. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Jump into our Discord. Join us there. Find us on Twitch or YouTube. And we'll see you next week if you don't make it tomorrow. Take care.
See ya.